and welcome to Ask Me About K-Pop, the essential guide for recent converts and seasoned fans alike. My name is Shannon.
And I'm Angelica.
And welcome to our very first Patreon-chosen deep dive episode.
Yay! Yes, we decided to pass the baton on to our beloved patrons because I think I've said this before, but at this point, we've done all the deep dives that are closest to our hearts.
Yeah,
but we
for the most part.
Still a very long to-do list of groups that are worthy of deep dives. So we have presented a poll of, I think, did you just pitch 2 against one another?
No, I think I had like 10, at least 10 choices, if not more. We
Okay,
had a
great.
whole
You
bunch
had a
of
whole
choices.
bunch. So our patrons got together, battled it out, and chose AOA.
Yes. So that's who we're going to be talking about today. And before we get started, as we do in all deep dives, what is our relationship or familiarity with AOA before we did this?
Well, before I did this, I thought my familiarity with AOA was smaller than it actually was. Because when we first started listening to K-pop, they were pretty new. And I feel like for the most part, a lot of their titles were just like in circulation.
Yeah.
Like they were just like all there, like watching a variety show or like anything. It would have it in the background or have a little dance challenge to one of them or something. So I always knew who AOA was. And we learned a couple of their dances in our dance class as well. So I just knew them as like a sexy second gen girl group. And that was like, or maybe they're third gen because they're like, kind of cuspy. But yeah, and then watching everything for this, I realized that I actually knew like 90% of their songs and the choreo, whether I had specifically learned it or not. I was just like, oh, I know this.
Yeah.
Deep within my soul somewhere.
Yeah, I was thinking about this and I feel like the first time I remember being aware of AOA was early in my K-pop journey when I was still a very big fan of We Got Married because that was still on air. And on the We Got Married Global season, Heechul was married to like a Japanese actress. And there was an episode where she took him as a surprise to go see like a private concert, quote unquote, a private AOA show.
Oh.
And he was like cartoon wolf whistling the entire time, like just like goo goo gaga over AOA. And I feel like that's the first time I remember seeing them. But every single one of their title tracks I've like had on my phone for years. I know every word of every song. I was always so familiar with their music, but I didn't know anything about the members or their history, or I just like knew all the songs. Like the songs were just in the world.
But for some reason, I did know Choa's name and Jimin's name.
Yes.
I didn't necessarily know their faces to be able to like pick them out outside of AOA,
Sure.
but I knew those 2 members.
For sure. Yeah, so that's where we're coming from. But we're going to get you all caught up today in case you know less or more than that, because that's how deep dives work. So if you've never listened to a deep dive, we will start with big picture facts introducing you to AOA. Then we'll go through all of the members and then a timeline of their whole discography.
Yes.
So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, so AOA debuted July 30th, 2012 under FNC Entertainment. And FNC is a company that we've discussed many times before that usually has more of a band focus for their groups. Like their groups often play instruments. And at start, AOA was no exception. The name AOA means Ace of Angels.
Yes, it does.
They never established a fan color, but I did for our deep dive format in our notes. We always color code them. And I went for like a kind of pinkish red because for whatever reason, that's like what I associate with them.
Fair. I feel like they wear a lot of red.
Yeah.
I like it.
But they didn't have
and
a
they're
fan
very
color.
girly. So
Yes.
a pinkish hue fits.
So they have 2 fan club names. From 2012 to 2015, their fan club was just called Elvis. And that was chosen because that's the name of their debut single. And Elvis is an important person in music. So the group wished to emulate his legendary fame.
Yes.
But the company had to change the name in 2015 because Elvis is a copyrighted name. So now they're called Ace of Elvis, or AOE.
Great. Good compromise, I suppose. So some overall notes about the group. AOA was introduced with a transformer concept, which meant that they would alternate between performing as a band with different members playing instruments and then as a dance group. And so they originally debuted with technically 8 members, but I saw somewhere that they called it a 7+1 concept.
Okay.
Because 7 of the members were known as full angels. And then Young, the drummer, was a half angel, half mortal because she was only the drummer. And so she would only promote with them if they were doing a band version. They only really used this for the first 2 to 3 comebacks, and we'll talk about that in the timeline. They also had 3 subunits, AOA Black, AOA Cream, and AOA White, which we discussed in our subunit episode, which is episode 15. So head on back there. Yeah. I feel like that's something else I knew about AOA, was that they had a ton of subunits. And I used to get them confused with After School because After School had a similar concept where they had a lot of girls and then they would like pair,
mix
like
them
group
up
them
weird.
for different things. Yeah. But arguably AOA was one of the last like sexy girl concepts in current girl group history, because we've talked about this a lot, the kind of like shift from the appeal of girl groups where they definitely started out putting like legs and visuals and like singing sexy songs and doing a lot of booty shaking. And AOA does that to a T. I feel like they're one of the best examples of it, to be honest. But after this, because they were kind of on that cusp, that trend sort of started to peter
gone
out.
away. Yeah.
They were always beautiful. Just in a general
visuals
note.
Like on point, like so gorgeous, and they always just like looked great. Like unlike most deep dives we've ever done, I didn't note a single comeback where it was like, ooh, that haircut, ooh, those outfits. Like they always looked so good.
Yeah, and they were supposed to look,
like
ethereally beautiful, and they did for sure. But as a warning, our timeline does end with a big bullying controversy that is not the fun kind of drama at all. So get ready. Do we have are we going to give timestamps?
I'll put a timestamp in the episode description when we know when it comes in, but trigger warning for self-harm and disturbing displays of poor mental health. So I'll put that in the description if you want to skip that and then go straight to when we watch the music video at the end. But just warning that is coming up. It is not fun. I will do my best to describe it like as a whole picture, but like it's not fun.
Yeah.
So just know
that now. And technically AOA is still together, but they are on hiatus, or they have been on hiatus since 2020. And they only have 3 members still listed as officially a part of the group. But only 2 of them are still under contract with FNC.
Yeah. And a couple of things, I like to read the Korean fan wikis because they're very funny and they like include so many crazy details. And I always like to know what the Korean fans think of things. So according to the Korean fans, AOA were at a disadvantage because they debuted during, quote, the red ocean of 2012, where there were supposedly too many girl groups debuting for them to be able to stand out. And member Mina said on an episode of Knowing Brothers that 70 groups debuted that year, but only 2 or 3 survived. I went and fact checked this, and just from my research, the only girl groups that seemed to debut that year were EXID, Spica, Hello Venus, and Crayon Pop, which, we do these support girl groups episodes. That's not very many.
No, and doing our support girl groups episodes, we've never had 70 groups debut in a year. Like, that's too many.
That feels like an exaggeration, but whatever. And also, according to the Korean wiki, the group's music was, quote, to put it bluntly, awkward and hindered by bad lyrics, which is kind of true.
So true. I marked it in the timeline whenever we wrote down the lyrics. I was like, all of these are gibberish. None of these are words.
Yes. And the fans also say that they were destined for failure, but they were saved in 2013 by a Seolhyun fan cam.
Wow.
That like got attention back
Similar
on the group.
Similar to EXID with the Honey fan cam.
Yeah.
Interesting. So some overall statistics for AOA's career. They released 1 Korean studio album, 6 EPs, and 13 promoted singles. They also produced 2 Japanese albums and 5 Japanese singles. They had 50 award nominations with 9 wins, including a Gaon World Rookie. And as I had to stop. I was like, did I say that right? I did. World Rookie. And a digital bonsang at the Golden Discs. They also have 10 music show trophies.
All right. So now it's time to get into the members. And just to try to organize it some way, we started with the members that are still affiliated with AOA in age order, and then everybody else in age order.
Except for the half angel who's last.
Yes. Perfect. Okay. So first we have Hye-jung, who is a lead vocal, lead dancer, visual, and center. Her birth name is Shin Hye-jung, and she was born August 10th, 1993 in Seoul. Her angel name, because they all have angel names, is Hye-jung Linus.
Yeah, with like a period in between.
And she is on Instagram at dongdong810, if you want to follow her. We always try to describe the members, and I felt like this was particularly hard because there are like 3 of them that I really can't tell apart very well, but she has like a very round jawed, like her jaw is very round, and she has those kind of like cheeky cheeks, and she has a freckle under her left eye. So like that's something.
Great. I love a distinctive mark.
Point. Hye-jung started modeling in high school and got scouted by FNC at a supermodel pageant that her mom had put her in. She did some pre-debut acting in an SBS drama called A Gentleman's Dignity, and she's been in 10 other dramas up until her most recent one was in 2021. So she's probably still at it. And she was part of the subunits AOA Cream and AOA White, and she is still under contract with FNC and still technically a member of AOA.
Yes. Next up, we have Seolhyun. She is lead dancer, vocalist, center, and face, which I think is funny because like very rarely do groups have 2 visuals, but here you go. Her birth name is Kim Seolhyun, born January 3rd, 1995 in Bucheon, and her angel name was Seolhyunari. She is on Instagram at S2SeolhyunS2. And according to her member profile, people think that she looks like a cross between A-Pink's Nan and Sistar's Bora.
I agree with that. Once I saw that, I was like, yes, I see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she has like, it's almost like one of those like holographic like pictures where you like see both depending on the angle. And she was famous for her super hot body. She was the sexy one.
Mm-hmm. They were all very sexy, but she was like particularly.
She was like, yeah.
Because she's like, I feel like she's the tallest, or she at least looks the longest.
Yeah. And I also noted it several times throughout the timeline as I was watching everything, but like AOA is all about the legs. And I think she must have had the longest legs.
Yeah.
Like for sure. She was also scouted during a modeling competition, visuals on point, and was very active modeling and acting all throughout the AOA timeline. She's been in 3 films, 7 dramas, with 11 acting awards out of 22 nominations, and she stars in FT Island's Severely music video. She was in the subunit AOA White, and she did not renew her contract with FNC in 2022, but technically didn't leave AOA. So she's still in AOA, but now she's signed with Yeom #.
All right. Next up, we have Chanmi, who is the main dancer, lead rapper, vocalist, and the maknae. Her birth name is Kim Chanmi, born June 19th, 1996 in Gumi, South Korea. Her angel name is Chanmi TT, T. Like the Twice song, TT. She is on Instagram at Chanmi_96A. And she has senpaku eyes, which is where you can see the white under the iris when they're like all the time.
Gotcha.
Like Billie Eilish has them too, if that helps.
Okay.
And she always, like, I feel like she's always like tilted her chin down, like looking up through her eyes is kind of her like vibe. And all of the pictures of her, she like poses with her mouth open for ultimate sexy baby vibes.
Great.
She was scouted by FNC while dancing during a basketball game in middle school. She was also in the subunits AOA Cream and AOA White. And she changed her name to Dohwa this year. After appearing as a character named Dohwa in a virtual competition show called Girl Reverse. I looked this up. It was like Produce 101, but all of the girls were animated. And it was like, I think it was scripted or semi-scripted. And it was like a virtual version.
Oh, so now she's gonna like debut as this like alter ego or something.
I don't know. It doesn't seem
or
like
are we
there
just
was
going
more.
full Chaonu and like,
yeah, she just liked the name and changed her name.
Wow.
And she most recently was on Queendom Puzzle. And she was I was so surprised to see that she was the maknae of AOA because her mom vibes on Queendom Puzzle were just like off the charts because she was one of the oldest contestants and most of the contestants were like 10 years younger than her. And she took such good care of everybody and was just like a great role model. And like, I got really attached to her on Queendom Puzzle. I thought she was great.
I love that.
But I will keep calling her. If she comes up in the timeline, we will keep calling her Chanmi because that was her name in this. But she is Dohwa now.
Yes.
If like that's how I was introduced to her because Queendom Puzzle was the first time I saw her.
Yeah.
So I'm like Dohwa. But at this point, her name is Chanmi.
Oh, she was Dohwa on Queendom
yes,
Puzzle
that's her
as well.
name now.
All right. Well, we have her as Chanmi in the timeline.
Yes.
Okay. Former members in age order. Choa was our main vocalist and rhythm guitarist. Her birth name was Park Choa, born March 6th, 1990 in Incheon, and her angel name was Choa Ya. She is on Instagram at QueenChoa _. And her short blonde hair was a sensation. And her signature look, like that's definitely why I always knew who Choa was, because she had short blonde hair almost constantly.
And it looks like it's the kind of like thing where it seems like she was born that way.
Yeah,
like
totally. It fits her face
so
and her coloring,
perfectly.
and she has like kind of a little like pointy chin, so it like the shortness of it really frames her face nicely. Yeah, I really love her little blonde bobs. She also has giant sparkly eyes. They're very big in her face because she has a tiny face.
Yeah, she's so like, she just really has that like fairy look.
Yeah, absolutely. She had failed auditions many times until she happened to bump into a soloist named Junil who advised her to audition for FNC, which is the company she was under, and she got in. She was in the subunit AOA Black and is the oldest and arguably the most popular member until she left in 2017. She returned to the entertainment industry in 2020 after she spent 3 years away to do some OSTs and then appear as a cast member on a few variety shows.
Next up, we have Jimin, who was the leader of AOA, the main rapper, the vocalist, and the lead guitarist. Her birth name is Shin Jimin, and she was born January 8th, 1991 in Seoul. Her angel name is Jiminelle. And her Instagram is jiminbaby _18. She also has senpaku eyes that are pretty far apart.
Yeah.
And she just has like a tiny head and a tiny face that just kind of has that like, I don't know, like pug look about it.
Yes, she has a very distinctive nose and like wide set face. So you can really pick her out. Like her face is, I think, the easiest to like remember.
Yeah. And she also has an incredibly distinct rapping voice that is honestly iconic. And I feel like many girl group rappers that came after her are trying to like emulate her style because it's like, it's really specific.
It's very specific. And I think it was very much a signature of AOA at the time because like even their debut song, as soon as I heard Jimin rap, I was like, oh yeah, that's the sound of AOA. It's very definitive for the group.
She is currently like covered in tattoos and has like real Hyuna vibes on her Instagram. And she still like posts about fandom birthdays and AOA memories and stuff like that. She was in the subunit AOA Black and was a member until 2020, but she remained contracted with FNC until 2022. But now she's fully out.
Fully gone. Next, we have Yuna. She was the main vocalist and keyboardist for AOA. Her birth name is So Yuna, born December 30th, 1992 in Busan. Her angel name was Yunaria, and her Instagram is YN_S_1230. She has very big lips with like a turned up nose and round eyes, and she has very big eyebrows, like long, distinctive. She kind of, you think she looks like
I think she kind of looks like
Yeri
Yeri and Umji from like G-Friend BBG. Like there's just something about her face that I'm like, oh yeah, that type of face.
Yeah. I think I know what you mean. She started playing piano at 7 and then moved by herself to Seoul to live with her uncle and audition for different companies until finally getting cast at FNC. She was in the subunits AOA Cream and AOA Black and was a member until 2021.
Next up, we have Mina, who is another rapper, vocalist, and the bassist for the band parts. Her birth name is Kwon Mina. She was born September 21st, 1993, also in Busan. And her angel name was Mina Ring. And her Instagram is at KVWOWV. And she has like a long nose and a very pronounced chin. And the only other way I could describe her is that she has like a K-drama lead face.
Yeah.
Like, there's a way that like girls who lead K-dramas look, and I feel like Mina looks like that. But she's one that I confused with the others a lot.
That's fair. I feel like I usually could pick her out because she was rapping and she wasn't Jimin.
That makes sense. She was a famous Eulzang pre-debut, which we've talked about. That's when like teenagers are good looking and like get famous on the internet.
Yeah, it's like being a teen influencer, but for being hot.
Yeah. Her family moved with her to Seoul to support her dream of being a singer, and she was in the subunit AOA Black and was a member until 2019.
And then lastly, we have Yu Kyung, who was our drummer. Her birth name is So Yu Kyung, born March 15th, 1993, in a place I couldn't find where she was born. Her angel name was just Y because she was a half angel.
Okay.
And her Instagram is DRRRR, 4 R's, period, UYOUKYUNG. She was blonde or pink haired at all times in like every picture that you can find. Really, she's got like some sort of brightly colored hair.
Yeah.
And she reminds you of Dahyun from
When
Twice.
I was looking at pictures of her, I was like, there's something about her face. And I was like, is it kind of Dahyun-y? I don't know. But there's also not as many like pictures of her because she wasn't in the group very long, didn't promote that much.
She wasn't in the group very long, and in group photos or performances, she's in the back because
sitting
she's
behind the drums.
But she is still a drummer, and she has a YouTube channel called Use Drum where she puts out drum covers, and she released a first single album in 2021 and is as a soloist, and then is currently a drummer for a band called Banduni, which you can find on Instagram at Banduni_official. She was in the subunit AOA Black and was a member until 2016.
All right, that's everybody.
Yeah.
So it's time to get into the timeline. So we'll start with debut day. July 30th, 2012, they put out their first single called Angel Story, and the single is called Elvis. Love that horn riff.
Wink, wink.
So this song was written by Han Sung-ho, who is the CEO of FNC and will come up a bunch. Like he participated in a lot of their like title tracks.
Yeah, and it seemed like throughout their timeline they had like 2 groups of songwriters that like their songs were from one of these two groups of people.
Other composers are Kim Do-hoon and Lee Sang-ho. And this song peaked at 8 on the Gaon weekly chart and 85 on the monthly chart.
And these are the album charts, not the singles. Just FYI, for the whole timeline, that's what I chose.
Great. The music video starts on your standard 2012 fake K-pop street.
Yes.
And AOA literally fall from the sky with angel wings, like crash down onto the street.
But like gracefully.
Yes. And then they're either dancing like in a box or on the street for half the music video. And then halfway through the music video, Yoo Kyung falls from the sky. And
Not
then they
gracefully, because she's only half angel. She falls on her butt, and they're all like, oh my gosh.
And then the band version of them is featured wearing like cool leather and stuff.
Yeah. And it honestly is very fun to watch the music video and have it like switch to a band version halfway through. It's pretty cool.
And the styling for this, like on the music video and the stages, they have these, I think, pretty cute, like shorts versions of like a 1970s Elvis jumpsuit.
Yeah.
With the big collar and the jewels and the fringe, but like in a cute, girly way. So those are really fun. But then when they were doing the band stuff, they were wearing like leather jackets and looking cool. And their debut stage and all the stages for Elvis start with the band girls playing instruments, and then it cuts to them in different outfits doing the dance part.
Yeah.
So they like really combined them both, which is pretty cool.
And the band version of the song is really fun.
The lyrics for this one are about falling for someone who's as dynamic as Elvis. I fell for you, Elvis, the handsome Elvis. You're my Elvis. Everyone goes crazy for your charm. But so many of the lyrics are just like gibberish, onomatopoeia, like rub-a-dub-dub, sizzle, sizzle, bing, bing, baby, bing, bang, bong, bong. Like lots
and then
of
just
that.
like shala-la-la-la, shallow, shallow. These words have no meaning in the context of the song. Like, it's wild. So much of AO, I mean, the Korean wiki said so, but it's true.
It's true. So this little single album had 3 songs, this title, a ballad, and then a B-side that was composed by CN Blue's Jung Young-hwa. CN Blue is also an FNC group. And it also had the band version of Elvis. And during promotions, they did a flash mob, as was hot at the time.
Yes, it was.
On August 7th with fans. And there's a video called AOA with 50 Angels, if you want to check that out. And the group and the fans danced around different places in the city.
Yes. And next up on the timeline, we have on October 10th, 2012, their second single, which was titled Wannabe. And the single was called Get Out. Get Out was written by Chae Young-don, Shin Ji-min, and composed by Kim Do-hoon and Lee Sang-ho. It peaked at number 5 on the Gaon Weekly and 36 on the monthly. And the music video has like a band version in this very cavernous red triangular room with like sort of military style outfits. But then there's the dance version in like the same room where they're wearing white shorts and these blue sequined tops, or white pants
jeans and
with
pink
sequin tops. Yeah. And then it cuts to like an animated magazine that shows the scenes of all of them in their movie character outfits. Because for the teasers and the like concept of this, all of the members were a different famous female character from the movies. So Chanmi was Hermione, Choa was Elle Woods, Hyejong was the bride from Kill Bill, Jimin played Matilda from Leon the Professional, which is a movie I don't recognize. Mina
Twice did that one in What Is Love too. That's the movie where like child Natalie Portman like helps a hitman or whatever. I don't know why everyone's so obsessed with the aesthetic
That's
of that
right.
movie.
That's yeah. But it's the like choppy bob.
Yes, the choppy
yeah.
bob thing.
Then Mina was Holly Golightly from Breakfast at Tiffany's. Sol Hyun was Juliet from Romeo and Juliet. And then Yoo Kyung is Lee Lu from The Fifth Element. And Yuna is Laura Croft from Tomb Raider. But the plot of the music video, like, there isn't really a plot of the music video. And to be honest, the movie character thing, like, there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
It's totally pointless.
It's totally pointless. And then at the end, like the magazine closes and it says like AOA magazine on the
like,
cover.
Okay. I don't know, whatever. They just like got these Halloween costumes and said, put these on. But the lyrics, this is a breakup song where, I can't believe that I believed everything you said to me, so just get out. The lyrics are, a girl prettier than me, a girl nicer than me. You won't find a girl like that in your life ever again. Snap out of it, fool. So they say pabo pabo a lot because they're calling you an idiot. And this is the last release with Yoo Kyung on the main titles, and she will continue exclusively as a member of AOA Black. Just as a note, we did not include the AOA Black cream and white releases.
We didn't put subunits in the timeline because we talked about it in another episode, and it would have just made it long and confusing.
And there's so much other stuff to talk about with just AOA, so we're focusing on that. Listen to the subunits episode if you want more on that. But the music video for Get Out was actually released 2 days earlier than it was originally teased as a gift for being so heavily requested by the fans.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, we fast forward a whole year to October 14th, 2013, with their third single called Red Motion. And the single is called 흔들어, which means shaking, but the English title is Confused. So this one was written by Jimin and Kim Do-hoon, Han Sung-ho, Lee Sang-ho, and composed by Do-hoon and Sang-ho. It peaked at number 12 on the Gaon Weekly and 40 on the Gaon Digital. And the music video has them in front of like a wall of spotlights.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
like the end of Chicago.
Yes. And there's a leather couch in the middle, and they're wearing like really tiny black dresses with high heels or tight white pants or super sexy black leather lace shirts.
Yeah, they have multiple outfits in it, but the whole music video starts with like a very ethereal, like angel. They're all in white, and it's so like soft, jazzy.
And the opening's kind of R&B and like very different from the other stuff.
Yeah, like slowly builds in, which is fun.
And the choreo, to me, reminds me a lot of the Sistar Alone leg dance, which had come out like a year before.
Yeah.
So, like, I think they were kind of drawing from that same vibe. And the music video doesn't have, like, any kind of plot or anything. It's just the girls dancing seductively, which I did realize feels kind of wild looking at it from today's lens because 2 of the members are, like, 17.
Oh, yes. I also noted, though, like, while watching this, that it's almost shocking to see this sexy choreo at this point. Like, watching it at the time, I think I wouldn't have really batted an eye at it, but like watching it today is like, ooh, like so many butts and like such short shorts and like look at all these legs. Like, it's a little bit shocking to see it now, which is just funny.
And the teasers had them in like white lace dresses, wearing blindfolds in like very bright white rooms to really sell the angelic vibes.
And that's that like first opening shot of the music video until it immediately cuts to sexy, which is what they did on all of the stages.
The lyrics are about being into someone who is a bad choice for you, but you just can't help it. It says, I get confused when I see you. Why do you confuse me without anyone knowing? You come and you go, and my heart goes, ooh, ooh. Both tracks on this little single album were co-written by leader Jimin.
Next up, on January 16th, 2014, they released their 4th single, which was titled Mini Skirt, and the single had the same name. But we're not going to play a clip of it because this is their most watched music video, so we're going to save that for the end of the random game. But the song was written and produced by Brave Brothers, along with Elephant Kingdom and Cha Kun, so this kind of starts a new era for AOA.
The Brave Brothers era.
The Brave Brothers era, which I think is their most iconic era,
I would
arguably.
agree.
This got them their first music show trophy on Inkigayo in February, 550 days after debut, and it was downloaded over 1 million times in 2014. The album peaked at number 9 on Gaon Weekly and 11 on the Gaon Digital chart, which was their first top 20 entry on that list. It went to number 1 on the Gaon Social and 8 on the Billboard K-pop Hot 100. It also peaked at number 3 on the Oricon Daily Singles chart and 13 on the Weekly, which is a Japanese music chart. And they released a Japanese version for their Japanese debut later in the year on October 1st. So this is the year that they started Japanese activities. And those activities included being the only South Korean girl group to perform at the A Nation Music Festival in Tokyo on August 17th. This music video is just butts. So many butts. The dance scenes, we're going to talk about it when we watch it later, but it just cuts between the girls in like suggestive places like beds or cars or dressing rooms, removing their shoes and their stockings. And again, just butts
and
everywhere.
Butts.
All the butts to see. The styling and the concept, of course, was mini skirts, either like an A-line office worker thing or mini dresses with nude panelings on the side. That is very suggestive. So we're ramping up the sexy, which has always been turned up pretty high in AOA to begin with.
Yes.
Seolhyun was missing from the promos because she had gotten hurt practicing curling for ISAC, which I think we talked about in our ISAC episode.
Injury list, probably.
Yep. And for some reason, FNC put a random dancer in her place, which is very odd because we really don't see that very often, except for when like Lay toured with EXO.
Right.
But
like
usually,
I know that sometimes like, yeah, they'll put a dancer in like a boy choreo if they need them for a lift, but they won't feature it much.
Yeah.
But in these, like during Seolhyun's lines, the random dancer is like lip syncing and getting full close-ups and
So
it's like,
weird.
who are you?
Yeah, so odd. So strange. I wonder who that person is and like what happened to them. But anyway, this era is very important in their history. The military reality show Real Men was on the air at the time, and this song was chosen by the soldiers as their #1 song, which rose them to the top of the real-time searches and cemented their presence in the culture. So we've talked about this before, but like the songs and the groups that are most popular with soldiers, that's pretty big, like for those groups.
I would love to do a whole episode about it. Like they call it the Millboard, like the military billboard of like what songs are popular with soldiers right now. And it's like a whole subgenre of K-pop. And there are groups that like most people don't know about that are the most popular group to the military.
Like Brave Girls,
Yes.
we've talked about, where the majority of their career has just been touring for military performances. And I feel like this was something I knew about AOA, was that they were really popular with the military. I don't know why that's something that I knew about them, but it is.
Yeah. All right, next up on June 19th, 2014, they put out their first EP called Short Hair, and the single is also called Short Hair. So this song was written and produced by Brave Brothers and Elephant Kingdom, and the two of them wrote this whole EP. Plus Star Wars.
Some producer
tag
another
named
Star Wars.
Okay,
yeah, I don't know. They were on like 2 of the tracks.
Okay, I see. This song peaked at number 4 on the Gaon Weekly Singles Chart and 11 album chart, and 11 on monthly. And the music video has them in like sexy job costumes, like if for Halloween,
like Spirit Halloween.
Yes, like
job
if you were
costumes.
like, I'm a waitress, I'm a cop.
Mechanic.
It's like the
and
sexy...
I do my mechanicking in hot pink short shorts.
Yes, exactly. And they dance in front of like a hair salon and assorted little box sets that match their jobs. And also comedian Lee Guk-ju, she plays like a gross dude who's like harassing a stewardess on an airplane in the music video.
She just like shows up at different places, like making their jobs harder.
And yeah, they're all just generally struggling at work. And all of the members by the end of the music video have short hair. Some of them are wigs, but some of them did cut their hair short for this. And then at the very end, there's like a tag where Gukju comes to the salon and they all like dance, and it's very funny.
It's so cute.
And yeah, the styling of this one, 4 of the members actually did cut their hair short. Choa already had her short hair, but like some others.
She cut it even shorter though.
Yes, and they joined her. And it looked great, and they got a lot of praise for it, and people were like, should I cut my hair short? Like, you know, it was a bit of a trend. And they wore the cute, sexy job costumes on stage, but the fun thing is that they all were the same colors.
Yeah.
Like, they are all in their little cop, mechanic, cheerleader, whatever, but like they're all coral pink or they're all light mint or like they all matched. And I just thought they were so cute.
So freaking cute. Oh my God. I loved all these outfits. There's one scene in the music video where they're all wearing not exactly the same outfit, but it's all flight attendant style. And fuck, it's so cute.
It's so cute.
It's so goddamn cute. The little hats.
The little hats. So the lyrics to this one are about being insecure about your looks, but having a new crush. And should I cut my hair before I start this new love? The lyrics say, I'll cut my hair short and forget about the past. I'll be reborn. It's gonna be fine. Great stuff.
Love it.
Everybody loves a good...
Wash that man right out of your hair.
So this EP had 5 tracks with 2 instrumentals, and they also released a song called Choayo as a single and used it to promote their first DVD and photo book.
Ooh la la. Next on the timeline is November 11th, 2014, when they released their second EP called Like a Cat with a single of the same name. This song was also written and produced by Brave Brothers with Chakun and JS. It won first place on Show Champion and peaked at number 3 on the Gown Weekly album and 7 on the monthly charts. And the single went on to number 7 on the Billboard World Digital Singles. They released a Japanese version the following year in February, which went to number 4 on the Oricon Weekly Singles and number 10 on the Japan Hot 100. And the music video for this is a cat burglar concept. So there's this white guy covered in tattoos with this huge diamond in a big vault. And then all of the members use their like seduction and sneaking skills to steal this diamond. And ultimately, like he catches them as they're cracking open the safe, and like 2 of them are at the safe. And then all the rest of the members just like descend upon these huge dudes and like kick them. And it's pretty fun. The styling and the concepts, lots of leather, super high boots. They had like over the knee boots with like little red trench coats, or like over the knee boots with their tiny black booty shorts and red leather cat burglar outfits. And in the music video, they have these like very silly, fancy like masquerade masks that don't really... They're like too fancy to be burglar masks, but whatever. And I had to note that this is a common theme throughout all of AOA stages, but the safety shorts on the stages of this song, they're so long because the shorts are so short that you get like a full like 3 inches of safety short underneath, and it's really, really silly. But the lyrics to this are, I'm hot and you like me, you're my wolf and you're my cat. It says, I'll surprise you, I'll walk lightly towards you. When you're asleep, I'll hold you gently, I'll surprise you. And they have like very like little kitty cat paws in the choreo
to this is like so incredibly iconic. And I feel like this year... this dance was the dance that everyone did on Weekly Idol. All the groups did it in their little fan signs. The boys would do it as a joke. Like this was the thing. Because the Korean title is Sapun Sapun, which means like lightly, lightly. And so that's what they're saying when they do the little kitty paws.
Yeah.
And like, it was just like, it was a moment. It was a real moment.
Yeah, this was one that as I was watching it, for this deep dive, I was like, oh, I know this. Like this is here in my brain somewhere. I already knew this. But this EP had 6 tracks total with 2 lyric credits for Jimin.
All right, moving on to June 22nd, 2015. Third EP called Heart Attack, and the single is also called Heart Attack. This song was written and produced by Brave Brothers, Chakun, Mr. Kang, Elephant Kingdom, and Lee Jong-min. They got 3 music show trophies for this on Show Champion, Music Core, and the show. And it peaked at number 2 on the Gown Weekly album chart and 6 on the monthly. And the music video starts with all of the AOAs being bad at lacrosse, and they're playing against boys
who are wearing full pads and helmets, and the girls are wearing like dresses. Like they have no padding, no uniform. It's like, who let these children onto the field?
Also, Solhyun is not on the team. She's in the stands looking disappointed at them.
She's the coach.
And then Choa gets knocked down by a boy. And then when he helps her up, she like falls in love with him. So then the rest of the music video has the girls like dancing sexily or literally undressing in a locker room.
Or like getting dressed in the locker. Either way, it's too sultry.
Or they're in like the most chaotic classroom of all time.
With a white guy as the teacher. Just always note that, because when he's like blurry in the background, just like he's literally like reading out of a book, walking up and down while chaos erupts everywhere. And he's like blurry in the background, and I thought he was Andy Samberg.
And Choa's like trying to confess to the boy, but like he doesn't notice her and other stuff.
And the girls stop her too, I guess, because he's like a rival or whatever.
Yeah.
But also that doesn't make sense because at the game, it was home versus guests, and the girls were home and the boys were guests.
But they go to the same
school. Anyway.
Nobody knows how sports work. Also, when they're doing the lacrosse game later, all of the boys in the stands are wearing basketball jerseys.
Well, and even when the girls get their shit, because there's like a new girl at school, which is one of the members, and then she helps them get better at lacrosse and gives them like new outfits. But the outfits still don't match. Like they're all blue and yellow, but it's not a uniform.
Right.
And they still don't play with pads.
But the concept was like generally sporty outfits. Like they have these really cute like white tennis dresses, but they're also wearing like tiny cheer shorts and like sports bras and cropped football jerseys and just like general sexy sporty outfits. And the teasers had them dressed as lacrosse players in the yellow and blue outfits. The lyrics are like, I have such a big crush on you. Wow. Oh my. I keep getting a heart attack the more I see you. It's like a heart attack. What do? I just want to be in your arms, baby. And the choreo, like when they're saying heart attack, like they're doing the kung kung, like heart pounding, they just like underline their boobs with their hands.
And well, they do it like as they lean forward, like sexily. So it's just like boobs. It's very funny. They're just so sexy.
So sexy. They released both a Japanese and Chinese version of this song and filmed a separate music video for the Japanese release.
Next on the timeline is October 4th, 2015. So a few months later, they had a fan meeting called the 2015 AOA Heart Attack in Seoul. This was the group's first fan meeting, and it was held at Gaedang Hall at Sangmyeong Art Center in Seoul. But member Yu Kyung, who had not participated in any of the activities in over a year, was a part of it. So they like brought her out of the basement. Hey, come on over. They had follow-up events in Taipei and Hong Kong that were held on the 10th and 11th of October of that month.
Next on the timeline, May 10th, 2016, there was a pretty big controversy about Jimin and Solhyun not knowing Korean history. So there was an episode of their own reality show called Channel AOA where these two members were playing a game where they basically had like a huge poster board that had a bunch of pictures of historical figures and they needed to like name all of them. And they got to a historical figure whose name is An Jung-gun, who was an independence activist who assassinated a Japanese politician in 1911 and like kicked off a whole bunch of shit. And they didn't recognize him. The people were giving them hints, still wasn't clicking. They had to look it up and were like, oh, I don't know anything about this. So everyone got super, super mad at them for like not understanding history. And it was like pointed out on the actual like regular news as an example of a rising trend of young people not knowing their history anymore. Jesus. So it was like a really big deal. And it was something that like got brought up in comment sections anytime these members came up for like years and years. And it just like, it became like a very big thing of like, they were an example of like, the kids don't know history anymore.
I feel like that's very unfair considering that they didn't finish traditional school.
Yeah, they don't go to school.
But whatever. So just a few days, like the same week that controversy broke, AOA was promoting their fourth EP, which they released on May 16th of 2016. It was titled Good Luck with a single of the same name. This song was written by Jang Yeon-jong, innovator Han Song-ho, and composed by Matthew Tischler, Aaron Benward, and Felicia Barton. This won them 2 music show wins on the show and show champion, but they technically also, at the time, won Music Bank on May 27th, beating out twice Cheer Up, which immediately made fans very suspect about the results. So they basically called for a recount, and KBS revealed 2 days later that they had miscalculated the scores, like just basic human error. Somebody typed it in wrong to the Excel spreadsheet, and AOA had actually come in second after twice. So they didn't take away the trophy from AOA. They just gave a new one to twice and apologized for the mix up. But so technically that one got 3, but not really.
I also saw, I couldn't get the like full gist of it because weird bad translation or whatever. But also one of these trophies was disputed that like maybe 17 was supposed to win it. Like this era was like rife with miscalculations or something. I don't know.
Because they're just relying on a guy with a spreadsheet. Like that's literally what KBS said, was like somebody put the wrong number into the spreadsheet. Like, oops, sorry. But anyway, it did peak at number 2 on the Gown Weekly and 10 on the monthly. It sold more than 41,000 copies by July, which made it AOA's fastest selling album at the time, and possibly ever, I think. But they also released a Japanese version, which debuted at number 4 and then stayed in the top 10 for a while. The music video was filmed in Guam, and it shows them as lifeguards by day and then like going out partying by night and dancing on fire trucks, like the halfway through. I don't know. The concept is odd because like the dance scenes, they're wearing these like all matching black outfits with these black fringe skirts and like little boots in front of like a fire truck and a like off-roading vehicle and like all these weird cars. And it has nothing to do with the concept of them being lifeguards on this island, but whatever.
General first responders. I don't know.
Yeah. So the music video was criticized in relation to the recent controversy for having Japanese cars in the music video. So this was proof that Jimin and Sohyun hate Korea and love Japan or something like that.
I don't know.
But it did come out like 6 days after the controversy. You know, people were still pissed and looking for everything. So even though I'm sure the girls had no say in which cars got put on the music video set or the fact that it was filmed outside of it, whatever. Anyway, like I said, the styling and concept for this was lifeguards, and they released 2 versions of the album: The Week, which was the lifeguards, and then Weekend, which is like the party
dresses. Yeah.
The lyrics are about being like, you're good luck, I'm a good luck charm, but also good luck getting to me because I'm so awesome and you better try harder than that. It says, good luck forever you like me. Good luck forever I like you. Good luck, reach out your hand, lucky, lucky. Good luck, I'm your lucky, lucky. And the word lucky happens so often in these lyrics, I can no longer read that word as a real word.
Yeah.
It has lost all meaning to me.
I do have a very soft spot for this song, though, because we did learn this in our dance class, and it was our first year of doing like Korean festivals.
Yeah.
And when we performed Good Luck, one of the girls made us, essentially, they were black outfits, but in red. Like we all had little matching tops and like little fringe skirts to go over our shorts. And it was so fun and good. And I'll never forget this dance as long as I live.
Yeah, it's in there for sure. This EP, yes, it was an EP, had 5 tracks total with 3 lyric credits for Jimin, and they also released a song called Cherry Pop off of it as a single.
Next up, on June 11th, 2016, they had another fan meeting called AOA Mini Live, parentheses, Good Luck to Elvis, and it was a fan meeting / mini concert held at the same place as the last one. And then just a little bit later, on August 9th, 2016, there was a controversy, which was that Sohyun is dating Zico.
Dun, dun, dun.
And this is when Dispatch released the very famous pictures of her running out of the cab in her little dresses. There's like so many pictures of her getting out of the cab and then sprinting into this apartment building. We discussed this a lot in the 5th episode of this podcast. The pictures had been taken taken like over 5 months. There were so many pictures.
So many. She's wearing like almost the exact. She has like 20 different dresses.
Little striped dresses.
They're all long sleeve and they end right underneath her butt. And she just like runs in with a cap in this tiny dress. And there's like 20 different outfits. It's wild.
And both companies for like FNC and whatever company Block B was under, I don't remember, more or less admitted to the relationship by calling them, quote, close colleagues with good feelings. But yeah, it was a legendary dating moment in K-pop, and there were lots of memes with the running pictures just because everyone was like, girl was trying so hard to run away, and they got her anyway.
But they needed like a different drop-off point or something. Like
we said in the episode, why didn't he give her like a garage clicker?
Yeah.
There's a way around this.
Backdoor, alleyway. I don't know, man. Anyway, now moving into 2017, on January 1st, they released their first full album called Angels Knock with the single called Excuse Me. This song was written by Brave Brothers Cha-kun, Eric Lidbaum, C.R. Kim, and Han Song-ho. It won 3 music shows, 2 on Show Champion and 1 M Countdown. The single peaked at 22, and the album sold 35,000 physical copies, and the album itself reached number 3 on the weekly Gaon chart. The music video is just like old-timey detectives. The whole thing has kind of like a 30s, 40s vibe to the costumes. Every single costume is beautiful. There are vintage cars, vintage clothes, like the sepia wash coloring, and this AOA detective agency is like tailing a man in a red suit with a hat, and they're like undercover, like, oh, Jimin like spills water on his gloves so that she can get his fingerprint, and like they're trying to like investigate him for what? We don't know. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't ever matter. Yeah. They don't show us. At the end, he takes the hat off, but we still don't know what he did.
There's like a moment, but it's like, who is that? What does his face matter? I don't know. But the whole styling and concept for this was just like adorable Sherlock Holmes outfits. They have these like little hats and these little capes, and they wore them on the stage, and they were just so cute. And in the music, I don't think they wore these on. I didn't see a stage of them,
but on the music
video, one of the dance sets on like a fake street is them wearing these like cute little like bell sleeve pink shirts with these navy blue pinstripe bell bottom overalls that are so fucking cute. They're so cute. They're so cute.
So cute. Oh, this whole thing is so good.
I love it. The lyrics say, excuse me, baby, look at me and see that I want you. It's kind of just like a, hello, I like you.
Excuse me. Excuse
me. The physical album had 2 versions, one for Excuse Me and one for Bing Bing, which was the second single they released. Technically, the 2 songs were supposed to have these opposite concepts where Excuse Me was supposed to be innocent and Bing Bing was supposed to be alluring. But AOA doesn't do innocent the innocent concept of them in Excuse Me, like, oh, okay, one of the sets they're wearing a full skirt and one of the sets they're wearing pants. But then in the main set where they're wearing their little Sherlock capes, they have khaki colored panties on.
Yes.
Like panties.
Yes.
They're not shorts.
Yes.
So they're both very sexy. But the second single was Bing Bing, and it does have a different vibe. This song was written by Han Song-ho, Murray, and Hyuk-shin, and it peaked as a single at 47. The music video is like a Vegas magician concept. So they're all dancing and posing in front of like huge cards and a big top hat. Like one of them's in a water tank and one of them is using rings, and they're all doing different like cheesy
magic
tricks.
Clothes changing, making birds appear, like
all that good stuff. But to be honest, looks pretty cheap.
It does.
It like weirdly
I think they used the whole budget on the getting all the sets and cars.
They had nothing left for this one.
Yeah.
Because this is like their cheapest music video of all the music videos on this list. But so the concept and the styling for it, they had like teeny tiny little onesies with these little collars or short silk robes. So alluring. And the lyrics are saying, breathtakingly bing bing, don't you know, body sign, my wet lips. Gross.
Ew. All right, March 11th, 2017, they had their very first actual concert. It was called Ace of Angels, and it was held at the Olympic Hall in Seoul, which has 3,000 seats. It was a 2.5-hour concert where they performed 32 songs, including solo stages for all of the members.
Damn, huge
So
concert.
like a real concert.
Yeah.
But right after this concert, there was a couple of months of a pretty long controversy ending ultimately in a departure. So in May, fans were starting to get worried because no one had like seen or heard from Choa since the concert in March. So the company stated on May 6th that she was taking a break for personal reasons. And then Choa herself essentially repeated this statement on the 16th on her own Instagram. But on the 17th, rumors broke out that Choa was dating a marine valve chaebol. I was like, what is this company? And they make marine valves, which is just like...
I thought marine valve chaebol. I was like, okay, so he's like an heir, right? To this but I was like, but he's a marine?
No.
What is a marine valve? No, I get it. The company that he is like rich from.
Yes, makes like
marine valves.
Pipes and turnies for ocean stuff. Cool. I don't know.
Great.
But either way, he's very rich. And his name is Lee Sok-jin. And the rumor was that they had been set up by Heechul.
Ooh.
Heechul immediately comes out and is like, I'm not close to either of those people. I didn't do this. Like, leave me out of it. And Choa denied it all on her Instagram and told people to stop speculating about why she was on a break. So then on June 4th, all of the AOA members sang the congratulatory song at somebody's wedding, and Choa was there. But this is like a personal activity, like someone's wedding. On the 16th, AOA had a public performance, but Choa was not present for that. So everybody's like really speculating, why is she like busy with her personal life, but she's not doing official
professional
business
things.
So on June 22nd, Choa posted on her Instagram that she is withdrawing from AOA. She stated that she was suffering from insomnia and depression and like doesn't want to keep bringing negative attention to the group with everybody being like, where are you? When are you coming back? So she was like, I'll just be out. And she said that she had like no intention of continuing any kind of celebrity life. Like she was not doing this to go solo. Like she's just like done, and hopes that maybe with time she could come back. But like for now, she can't do it anymore. Then the next day, Sports Soul releases a bunch of pictures with this guy on vacation in Japan.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Choa has to get online and she immediately denies. She says she's not pregnant. She's not getting married. Like she did not leave the group to date this guy because, by the way, you can date and keep your job and dating is not a crime.
I mean, God forbid a woman does anything.
Yeah. And she also says that she was in Japan with her sisters, who are in some of the pictures. So, like, that's not a lie. She was on vacation with her sisters. This guy is a guy she happens to know. He was helping her and her sisters, like, get taxis around Japan. And they're not dating. But if they were, it wouldn't be a crime. Like, it's like a very, she doesn't really admit to anything, but more or less is just like, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
So then on June 30th, FNC officially confirms that she has withdrawn from the group, but she is still under contract with them. And that's their own business to work out. But like, she's not going to be in the group anymore.
Yeah.
So that was the end of that.
And I believe, as we said in the members, like she just let her contract run out and like they didn't demand anything else of her, which is kind of nice of the
as far
company.
As we know,
as far
I mean,
as companies. Like, yeah. As far as we know, it seems like they let her just like run out the clock, which is, you know,
it's something.
Yeah. Next on the timeline, we have May 28th, 2018, they released their 5th EP, Bingo Bangle, with the single of the same name.
엉덩이 흔들어
So now they have only 6 members, and this song is written by Eric Nyholm, Krista Siegfrieds, Christopher Carlson, and Kim Do-hoon, and Jimin helped with the lyrics. It reached number 4 on the Weekly Gown digital chart and number 3 on the Billboard World, and sold 21,000 physical copies. The music video has like an 8-bit video game motif, and the members exist in this roller skating waitress themed game that somebody in big baggy short overalls is playing in the bedroom, and then eventually like the girl playing in the bedroom gets sucked into the game. And they had like denim shorts with little ring neck tees and like tube socks as their main look for this. They cut Yuna's hair really short and dyed it blonde, like trying to replace
it felt
Choa's
like they were trying to
visuals.
fill the visual hole of like someone in this group needs to have short blonde hair.
Well, it did kind of become a signature for them, so it was like, how are they going to know it's AOA if we don't have the blonde bob? But the lyrics say, "Come on, baby, don't be shy, shake your butt, bingle bangle," and a lot of talk about trembling from the heat of excitement of you coming closer. So yeah, this song has like a super iconic whistle. I don't know why this one's so cemented in my brain. And also the music video to me was like, have we talked about this on the show before?
I don't know. Like, did it come up in a 2018 trend of like music video songs or whistle songs or something?
Maybe? I don't know.
But this song is very interesting because like it still feels like very sexy in that like, you know, they all have like body yaddy yaddy and they're very tight clothes.
But they're teeny tiny shorts.
Is something more like innocent and playful about it.
Totally. Well, this is the first one where I think they get to wear sneakers.
True.
So they're not in heels. And it's a very casual concept. Like they, aside from the lifeguard concept, Good Luck, where they didn't really do the I feel like on the stages for Good Luck they usually went with the sexy vibes instead of
they wore
like,
the bathing
lifeguards.
suit. I mean, there's one stage where they are wearing the Baywatch bathing suits and the little
okay,
shorts.
they do it at least once. I don't remember if they're wearing sneakers in that one, but this was
no,
like
they're
a much
wearing
more.
The,
they're wearing the
sneakers
pumps.
with the
Yeah,
sneakers
the
that have
wedge
the wedge
pumps.
in them,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they're
yeah.
still up on their
But
calves.
here they're like wearing tube socks and flat on the ground, and like they're wearing very short shorts, but they're wearing like t-shirts, and it was just a much more casual concept, which they don't usually do. And even though the lyrics are like, "Come on, baby, shake your butt," the choreo isn't as sexy as it usually is. And it just feels more fun as opposed to alluring.
Agreed. All right. Next up, June 30th, 2018, they had another fan meeting called 2018 AOA 2 Elvis Fan Meeting. And it was held at the Sungkyunkwan University New Millennium Hall, which only has 800 seats in it. And this was the first fan meeting since Choa left, and it was reportedly very sparsely attended.
Oops.
So like losing Choa did have a huge impact on their popularity.
Yeah. Yikes. Well, she was one of the more popular members. And like I said at the beginning, her and Jimin were like the only names. Like I knew Choa's name.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Then on May 13th, 2019, so almost a year later, we have another departure. Mina will be leaving AOA to pursue her acting career at another company. So they also tack on to this announcement that Choa's contract has expired. So she's officially released from the group. So 2 contracts up. Neither choose to renew, and they both fly away.
I believe everybody else did renew, because I was reading that like in April before this, there was a lot of speculation of like, it's time for AOA's contracts to come up. What are they going to do? So only Mina like left and Choa got out.
Stayed out, yeah.
So next up in August of 2019, AOA had a very big opportunity in that they were asked to join brand new competition show, Queendom. Yeah. So this show was advertised to be a competition between 6 girl groups to determine who was the real queen of K-pop. So the remaining 5 members of AOA joined the cast as their first like real activity in a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And they received a lot of positive attention for their reimagined cover of Mamamoo's Egotistic. this was performed on episode 3 and 4, and they wore like suits and then they danced with drag queens. So there was like a lot of spectacle, and the version of the song was really interesting and good. And I think it like charted, and we talked about it on the show because like song was like, have y'all seen this?
It was so good. It's very good. Highly worth watching the whole performance.
And ultimately, AOA came in 5th place on the first season of Queendom, but appearing on the show did like raise their public profile and got them some new fans, which, as noted, had been steadily dropping off since they lost Showa. So this like seemed like it was going to be like, oh, is AOA going to get reborn now?
On October 30th, 2019, they put out a special release, which was the Queendom final comeback that they put out. And it was titled Sorry. This song was written by Diedrich and Sebastian Thought, Brooke Williams, and Christopher, with Korean lyrics by Jimin and FNC's CEO Han Sung-ho. This was their finale stage for Queendom, and then they released the song as a part of their album a month later. The styling and concept for the finale stage was a Wild West concept where the girls are wearing like old school Western wear and hats, and then they like throw the hats off. And Chanmi does this like full choreographed fight with the men in the middle where she does that crazy Black Widow thigh neck spin, and it's bananas.
It's bananas.
And it also is like, I don't know, because this song is very cool.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. It's way slower and like more gentle and mellow than literally anything in their entire discography. It's a totally different vibe from the kind of stuff they usually put out. And they're also very covered up on this finale stage. Most clothes they've ever worn on stage, I would put money on it. But the Western theme didn't really fit the vibe of the song, in my opinion. It just like seemed sort of arbitrary. And then there's like this whole dance break, like the fight break and the dance break that happened in the middle of the song for the finale performance was just kind of like, well, this, you're like turning it up and making it special for the stage, but it doesn't necessarily fit.
I do feel like that's a huge symptom of every Queendom and Kingdom everything, as I think a lot of the times you can tell that like
they're just like
one thing came first, or someone was like, I want them to look like this. I want them to do this kind of stunt. But then like the song doesn't always match. Like I think that kind of happens on those shows a lot. And I wish I knew more about their Queendom season, because this is the only one I didn't watch. I watched all of the other ones, but I've never gone back to watch regular first Queendom. But yeah.
The lyrics to this song are like a I don't believe that you're sorry kind of breakup song. It says, what's the ending? To freeze to death with your love. Love without an answer. Bye, bye, bye. The stop, the love.
So on November 26, 2019, they released their 6th EP called New Moon, and the single is called Come See Me. This song was written by Kim Do-hoon and Young Bae, with lyrics by Jimin and Han Sung-ho. It sold 15,000 physical copies and reached number 51 on the Gaon singles chart, but got all the way to 8 on the Billboard World. In the music video, the members are all like seemingly different kinds of assassins. There's lots of guns and assorted weaponry.
Like big bows and arrows and things.
And the outfits in the dance section are like kind of vintage cowboy in vibes. Like they're like khaki suits with little vests, but the hats are not cowboy, but they're not Western either.
It's more of like an old school Mexican cowboy, because they have like the cummerbunds and the high waists and the like bolero cut jackets, and the hats
but the hat is
flat brimmed, which is much more of like a Mexican style hat. So that's what it read to me.
I also noticed that Chanmi is like fully a center in this comeback. 100%. Like she went from being the like maknae who didn't get shown that much to like she's owning this comeback with her red hair and like the lyrics say, I want you, please hurry before the sun comes up, come and see me. Do you know how my heart flutters when I hear your footsteps? But unfortunately, the comeback showcase for this was canceled because Guhara passed away the day before it came out. So it was a little anticlimactic for their like big post Queendom comeback.
But you did find one stage to put
there
on the
is
playlist.
one, but
so
like,
there's one, and then
I think they might have had
short.
to do them a week later or something like that. Okay. We have now reached the point where we get to our very uncomfortable drama. So if you want to nope out and come back when we watch the music video, I will put the timestamp in the description. Okay. So on July 3rd, 2020, all of this stuff kicks off when former member Mina posts on her Instagram that, quote, a certain UNI member had bullied her for 10 years. And she detailed an incident where she had been scolded in the closet of a waiting room because her father was hospitalized with cancer and she was upset. And she says that Jimin pulled her into a closet and was like, get it together.
She said a member.
Sorry. She said a member. I haven't revealed that part yet. She says a member pulled her into the closet and told her to like get it together because she was, quote, ruining the mood. So Mina had up before this been like very publicly suffering through a lot of tough times and had posted a photo of her hand on a diary that many believed she was showing self-harm scars in the photo. And somebody commented, "Go away, you bitch," on this photo, which prompted her to just post 2 separate posts that were just huge walls of text speaking about how like hurt she was at, quote, what one of her members had done and that she continues to suffer to this day. So then everybody goes into detective mode because there are only 3 members of AOA that are older than Mina. And since the statement had alleged that this member had gotten special treatment when her father died, and Mina was forced to keep a smile on when her father was dying, this meant that it could only be Jimin because Jimin's father had passed like earlier at some point. So then Jimin posted on her Instagram story a single Korean word, which I have seen translated as novel, story, or fiction, like something like that. And that's all she posted, implying that this is a made up story. So Mina immediately shoots back with like 6 more really long posts. And one of them started with, novel? I only said one thing out of 10,000 billion, like a million zeros. And the posts are really rambly and really sad. Like she was just clearly not okay. And she keeps referencing all of the like medicine that she has to take and how much she constantly self-harms. And she does call out Jimin by name in these posts and blames her 100% for her departure from AOA. Like, I left and it was all Jimin's fault. So then 8 hours later, Mina makes another post apologizing for getting so upset and causing everybody to worry. And she says that all of the members and the managers had showed up at her house after she made these posts. And that Jimin came in angry, ready to fight her. And that Jimin had said, go get that knife of yours if you want me to die. Mina says that Jimin didn't remember anything that she ever did to her and was alleging that she like apologized anyway, but that she did not accept this apology. So then at 6:30 p.m. on July 4th, Jimin posts an apology to Instagram, but she was immediately criticized because the comments were turned off on this apology. So then people felt like she was hiding because then nobody could comment on it. And she ended up reposting it 3 different times to like change the wording. Like she changed the words since like sorry to sincerely sorry. And one statement ended with, I thank all my members. And she changed it to, I'm sorry to the members. And like she edited it a bunch of times because everything she posted was getting so much backlash. So then in response to this, Mina made another very angry post essentially saying that she doesn't believe the apology and added in the seemingly very unrelated detail that Jimin would bring guys back to the dorm for sex and that Mina had to keep it a secret. So this was part of her burden. So messy. And ended the post with the quote, "You win, I lose." But the fact that this post included the phrase "before I go" and the phrase "I will get you back before I die" caused the management to go do a wellness check on Mina. They said she was fine. The next day, on July 5th, FNC officially apologized for the incident through a statement and announced, as of this time, Jimin will leave AOA and stop all entertainment activities.
Which is pretty wild. Like, I just need to emphasize that all of that that statement that Jimin is going to leave 2 days later, that is how quickly and how like horrible everything that was coming out. Like, if you didn't know, like, this happened in 2020 when like I feel like there were obviously, yes, there was a lot going on, but also AOA hadn't really been doing anything for a while. So, and Mina had not been a part of AOA for a while either. So I feel like when the news broke, a lot of people who were like, they may not have known who AOA was. So they're just like seeing headlines about things and maybe kind of like not paying attention to it or whatever. But this was so dramatic that it only took 2 days for Jimin to get officially booted from the group. And she was arguably their most famous member at this time.
And the leader and everything.
The leader, like the signature rapper, like very, very important center member.
But unfortunately, throughout the rest of the month, Mina kept making posts like every week or so, sometimes posting very graphic, very bloody self-harm photos. And on August 8th, she posted a suicide note calling out Jimin, Seolhyun, and the FNC CEO by name, telling them that when she was dead, they better pay all of her debts because this is their fault. It was like very, very intense. And the photo was so graphic and awful that like everyone who saw it immediately called 119, which is 911 in Korea. And someone got to her and she was hospitalized. And so then the netizens immediately turned on Seolhyun as well, because this was the first time she had been named in any of this. On August 11th, when she got out of the hospital, Mina posts, but then immediately deletes a post defending all of the AOA members and FNC, saying that like she was wrong, she didn't mean any of it, but then she took it down. So on the 12th, her current agency deleted her Instagram and said that she needed to be off the internet and focus on her treatment.
Which is probably the best choice for sure, but yikes. All of that is horrible.
And it's not over. Unfortunately, there's more.
Okay, strap it.
Okay, so quickly, just random, on January 1st, 2021, Yuna's contract expired, so she's out of AOA officially.
Probably because she was like, get me the fuck out of this mess.
Then on May 5th, 2021, Mina returns to social media, does more self-harm photos, more public crying for help, posts another series of screeds attacking netizens who don't believe her anymore, saying she wants a better apology from Jimin. She wants to see her face to face. It's so sad.
Is she also re-hospitalized during this time?
It's possible. It was like very confusing, but she would just like take to the internet, post awful things, disappear for a while. And at this point, netizens started to turn on Mina, and people were alleging that the photos she was posting were from Russian gore sites and that she like wasn't actually hurting herself, that she was just like doing these upsetting cry for helps, like whatever. I won't comment on that, but like the public sentiment is starting to turn against Mina because it's like been a year and she's still bringing all of this stuff up. So on September 7th, 2021, Dispatch releases a full transcript of the time that they all came to her house, like when it first.
On July 3rd.
Yeah, when this first broke.
Which, how did they get this transcript? Like, who recorded this conversation?
One of the managers must have recorded it, and I feel like they probably released it to Dispatch just to be like, we're not like before Mina can say anything else. Like, here's
what
exactly
happened.
what happened.
Lord.
So they released both a text chat log of Mina and Jimin texting after Jimin's father's funeral, which was brought up in the original posts. And these texts seem to outline like an exact apology, like years before, of Mina being like, when my dad died, you weren't nice to me. And Jimin being like, I totally get that. Like, now I'm in the same place. And they seem to like bury the hatchet then, years ago. So they have these texts to be like, they already did this. And then the full transcript of this 2-hour meeting that happened at Mina's house. And this reveals a ton of details, including the fact that Choa was there.
Wow.
She came too. The part about the get the knife if you want me to die is in the chat. She did. Jimin absolutely did come into this meeting hot. Like, that is very clear. And all of the members are just like prompting Jimin to apologize and end this. And Jimin keeps being like, fine, if I can't do anything right, then I'll just leave. And is like being very stubborn, and they're trying to like talk her back. She says she doesn't remember any of the things that happened, and that as a leader, she just always hoped that Mina would, quote, go on a better path, and didn't think that she was being hurtful to anybody. She thought she was being a leader and keeping the group in line and keeping up their public image and doing her job as a leader. And Mina asks the other members to like confirm that Jimin was excessively mean to just Mina. And Chanmi says, I'm not taking sides. And Choa is like, you know, everybody is different, and some people are sensitive to things that other people are not sensitive to. And like, this just, you might have just taken it wrong. And like, we didn't feel the same way as you. And everyone's trying to be like very gentle, but like it's so bad. I can't believe this transcript exists. Like,
yeah,
this is like
wild.
the worst moment in people's lives, like this crazy confrontation. And it's just like truly just like lined out text by like, you can
Which
just
is
read
so
it.
wild.
So, let's see. Jimin just keeps saying like, I'll quit the group. Fine, I'll quit the group. If you got like, then I'll just quit. And they keep being like, don't quit, just listen, just apologize. And Choa is like being a really good mediator in this whole thing. She says that they were all like very overworked at the time. And she apologizes to Mina, being like, we didn't know this was going on with you. We all probably should have been talking more. Like, if everyone was having hard times, like, we should have worked this out then. She also advises Mina to stop posting on Instagram because she's going to regret doing this publicly. Like, Choa says that she regrets a lot of the things that she posted during her scandal, being like, I should have just shut up, like, and you should do the same. Jimin eventually does apologize a ton of times, and Mina says that she accepts it, but the reaction of the members keep being like, we can't leave you like this, makes it seem like maybe she was saying it angrily or sarcastically, because she keeps being like, fine, I accept your apology. And they're going like, well, we're not going to leave. I don't think this is going right. And that is the whole thing, and it's out there. And they also released, Dispatch also has a bunch of text logs showing that Mina has been constantly texting Jimin insults and threats for like an entire year. Jimin's never answered a single one of them. So then Mina responds to this and says that the transcripts are edited and deceiving, and she wants the full audio released because there's context missing. And yeah, this is honestly some of the most intense airing of dirty laundry I've like ever seen in K-pop or entertainment ever. Like, it's so, the whole thing is just like so sad.
Yeah.
And I feel like I just kind of like believe everybody. Like, I believe that Jimin didn't have bad intentions, but I also believe that Mina took everything that she said like as harshly as possible. And like, it's all just like so sad, and it's everybody on like every side of it, like not really knowing who to believe or who to support. And I saw a lot of comments from the time talking about like, you know, everybody wants to be very like supportive of mental health and like everyone should be well. But like when you are confronted with the reality of someone who is so unwell, like when you have to like look at it, it's very hard to like look at and deal with. And like, I don't know. The whole thing is just like so sad. And it ended AOA. Like pretty much Jimin doesn't do anything. Mina hasn't been heard or seen from in a very long time, which is probably good. I hope that means that she is like getting better.
Help. Yeah.
But like it was just so long and so messy and so upsetting in so many ways.
Yeah. And upsetting in so many ways, not only because it taints AOA's legacy completely. I feel like for so many people, especially like so many people got into K-pop in 2020, and I think that there must be so many K-pop fans who maybe only know AOA by this bullying controversy.
Because the headline is just like AOA leader is a bully. And like if you just see that, then that's...
And there was a point around this time where like a ton of people were being
after
accused
this, there was a
bullying.
much bigger like mass
And
bullying
yeah, and
controversy.
this was like the really big one, and it was so devastatingly messy and tragic and unclear as to like, and unresolved, that like it just sucks that this is such a that everything culminated in this explosion.
Yeah.
It's just probably one of the worst bummer deep dives we've done.
I hate that we have to end it on this note, but like this is where it ends. Like Solhyun's contract expired in 2022. This year in March, Hyejong moved to another company, but like supposedly there are still 4 members of AOA.
3. There's only 3.
Oh, only 3. And yeah, I mean like Chanmi / Dohwa did her queendom thing, and like, but that's kind of all that anybody's been like seen or done in a while. And it's just such a bummer because it seems like, you know, they had a chance to do it again. And, you know, people who are not on Mina's side like to allege that like she got jealous that they got popular from Queendom and she wasn't in the group anymore. And like, whatever, that's up to you to decide. But like, I don't know. The whole thing is just so sad. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. I hate that all of this had to go the way that it did, and that like so much of this like incredibly personal stuff like was released to the public to try to clear names. But like even in doing so, like I don't know, this was I just can't imagine what this was like for all of them, and then to just like have it all out there like that.
Yeah, to have it all out there like that, and for this to be kind of the last thing to AOA's name, that sucks, because then it like takes, you know, it just really overshadows everything else that had come from their, you know, like almost 10-year-long career. And it's just really a bummer. It's sad for everyone. And like also the whole releasing of the transcripts and the texting, like that's such a violation of privacy for everyone involved, that like that conversation and that interaction was recorded, period. It's just all really shitty.
Yeah.
It's all really shitty.
Yeah. So we'll bring ourselves out of that and go back to when everything was good. And we're going to watch their most popular music video, Miniskirt, to try to end this on a note of remembering all that AOA brought to K-pop and their place in the sun as like, you know, as like we were saying, like kind of one of the last versions of this kind of sexy K-pop that people don't make anymore. And we wonder if anyone will ever make it again. Like, I don't know, but like, at least we have AOA.
The last bastion of sexiness.
So if you want to watch Miniskirt with us and see so many butts.
This opening frame is literally a crotch shot of the tiniest jean shorts I've ever seen.
Yes. So pull up Miniskirt if you want to watch it with us, and press play when I say go. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, it's got a 15 on it. Only a 15.
Probably because of the crotch. This starts.
Okay, so we got Solhyun. She's in bed.
Getting in bed.
In her little, like,
Little
men's shirt and her little
shorts.
jeans.
Who takes a nap in jean shorts? Oh,
Ugh, no, that
is a
sounds
yeast infection
terrible.
waiting to happen. All right, here we go. So we've got our 2 dance rooms, one with the little like illusion panel skirts. I love so many of their dances start with like 3 or 4 of them on the floor, and I love it. And we've got our close-ups of eating strawberries seductively through a haze.
Oh, those shoes are so big.
So tall.
But
Ooh, and these little thigh highs. Okay, and then we have our business mini skirts with the line down the leg.
yes, the tights with the seam. And then they unzip the
Yes, they
skirts as part
unzip
of
the
the choreo.
Oh, they love getting in a line. Butts.
So much butts. I couldn't believe when I looked it up that like there was no like the choreo
Warning.
didn't get flagged.
Yeah.
They didn't like they did this on music shows.
And they never had to change the choreography, which is wild. Even the unzipping part. And they're like, ooh, taking your shoes off sluttily in a car.
And Jimin has like a very like Chicago black
bob, yeah. Butts. They literally just turn around and
just
bend
bend over.
with straight legs.
Oh, eating
Toa.
cream.
Right, dear God. And like this, she's in a bath.
Yeah.
Or she's like getting ready for the bath.
Ooh,
Rip the necklace
that
off.
necklace off. Oh.
Rip the skirt off too. My goodness. Jimin. Butts. And those hands are like
They're
fully
just
on
like fully
cheeks.
holding each other's
Fully
butt
on the
cheeks. Stairs to nowhere.
A little bit. Butts.
But yeah, the
Butts,
office,
up and
the
down
red,
butts.
the office worker thing is very like, oh, it's kind of sneaky that
Yeah,
they're wearing
it
these
is.
like button downs and these very like, yeah, I don't know. Oh, now they're
Unzipping
unzipping the
dress,
clothes. Someone's
in
getting
a
the shower.
Wait,
in a
she's
white
wearing
tank top.
clothes in the
Oh,
shower.
here come the chairs.
Okay, chairs in a circle. Ooh, taking off the dresses, getting in the baths. Musical chairs with butts. Bend over the chair. Butts.
Yeah,
back
I
up.
get why all the military boys liked this
Yeah.
so much. Oh my
Full
god,
bath scene.
full bath.
Butts.
Oh my god, it's
Wait,
so,
that was just
like
a crotch. That was
shot.
a full crotch shot.
Wow,
That was just
Like,
safety short covered vagina.
Oh my god, wow. Oh, and now she's waking up from her sexy little dream, and there's a cat.
Oh, and there's a cat.
a short-eared cat.
Oh, hello. Is that a pussy reference?
Probably. Wow.
Wow. It is a pretty cute little cat, though.
So there you go. That is AOA.
The saga
The saga. But
and tragedy
Yeah.
of AOA.
despite the very terrible ending, like truly, I say like a no skip career. Like all of their title tracks are so good and so fun. A lot of them feel like very legendary and like cemented as
Yeah.
part of the history.
And I find them really fun and satisfying to watch because the choreography, although it's fairly simple in terms of like the movements themselves, it's also very precise because it's all about angles and lines. And so it looks beautiful. Like they're very like, just their shapes and formations are like a very satisfying
Yes.
choreography to view. So
When we
I
learned-
do enjoy watching
Yeah.
AOA.
When we would learn their dances in class, our teacher would like very try to like these are S-line dances. Like
Yeah.
you always have to be keeping your hips like at an angle so that
Yeah.
you're like in the prettiest shape possible. And they like really did nail that all the time.
Totally. And I think it's funny because these are like our dance teacher loves sexy concepts. And so like these are dances where like once we learned Excuse Me, we did Excuse Me for every single performance for years afterward. Like, she would not let it go.
No.
Which I just think is funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for me, AOA has quite the enduring legacy burned into my brain.
And it's not a very specific recommendation, but I do just like recommend their discography. Like they really didn't, other than the one full album, almost
put it out,
only singles and stuff. So there's only like 3 songs per comeback. And I really do think that all of it is like very good. They had a really specific sound that like really went with their generation. And like Cho is a great singer and like Jimin's rap is so iconic. And like, I don't know, I just like stand by the whole thing. And
I agree.
If you've never listened to it, I say get into it because it's good girl group music.
It is good girl group music that I think manages to be both perfectly of the time and also not outdated. Like, even though girl group music doesn't necessarily sound like this, when I listen to AOA, I don't necessarily feel like, oh, this is a 2012 song.
It doesn't
like,
feel super dated.
Yeah, it still is like fresh and fun.
Totally. All right. Well, that is it. But I do have a bit of an announcement. This is going to be the last episode for just a minute. We'll try not to be gone too long, but I am moving back to Texas. So Texas listeners, look out. I'll be able to go to Texas K-pop concerts with you now. But while I'm moving and all of the shuffle, we're not going to have new episodes for a bit. But then as soon as I get set up, we'll get back on the Zoom and we'll make it happen because technology means we can make it happen.
Absolutely.
So just letting you know, no new episode for a little bit, but we'll be back as soon as we can. And we do have a fun little Halloween special on Patreon coming out soon as well. So look forward to that. If you want to find that, if you want to vote in our next deep dive, because I think from now on, I want to make deep dives votable.
Oh yeah, I think that's just how, unless something happens that we're like, oh my gosh, that person is so close to my heart, we must do this ourselves.
Super special anniversary. But I think we should just let y'all pick deep dives from now on.
I'm down.
So if you want to do that,
we only just like flip a coin.
Yeah. And this made it real easy just to be like, you guys want this? Great. So if you want to join our Patreon, patreon.com/AMAKPopPod. They just redesigned Patreon the other day. It looks totally nuts. But it's all like very nicely categorized. And we have years and years of content on there that you can check out.
And it'll get you through our little hiatus through the rest of October.
Yeah. So that's patreon.com/AMAKPopPod. Otherwise, we can be found at AMAKPopPod on Twitter and Instagram, AMAKPopPod@gmail.com. You can call us or text us at 181-AMAKPop5. We can get mail at P.O. Box 260. Why do I suddenly not know it?
26096.
Yeah. P.O. Box 26096, Los Angeles, California, 90026. Linktree/AMAKpop to get to our YouTube and our Spotify, where we'll have the full AOA playlist as well as playlists for all of our other episodes. You can also join our Discord there and hang out with other listeners. And ask me about kpop.com for merch. Limited time only. I think we got to close that store soon. It's really expensive. Do you want some merch? Come get it right now.
Hot off the presses.
Get
it now before it's gone.
That's it, I think. Thanks so much for listening to this deep dive. And like I said, we'll be back as soon as we can. We love you so much. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Jonghyun, you're our inspiration.